I want to welcome everybody to the first of my 5 Zoom gatherings. Each one is on a different topic. If there's anybody here that's not familiar with me, I'm Robert N. Maycumber. I am the author of the 14 historical novels in the Honor series, and my 15th book, Word of Honor, comes out in October. I am also a lecturer, and I specialize in Victorian and Edwardian world history, along with other maritime subjects and political subjects and literary subjects. Now tonight, I wanted to start off our Zoom gatherings with a talk about our titles and our book covers. And you're going to get to see some original paintings from the artwork that have never been shown, and some charts and maps that have never been shown. And they were very, very important to me in my research. So I invite everybody to stay connected and attend the next 4. You can always stay connected with me at my website and on my Facebook page. I have about 5,000 people around the world between the 2 of those that I stay in touch with, and I always answer emails and Facebook messages. Now, with the initial formalities done, let's start out with a little fun, shall we? Let us have a toast in honor of my Irish-American character, Sean Rourke. This toast comes to us from Thomas Osborne Davis. It's from a poem called The Welcome. So please raise your glasses or raise your hand. And everybody listen to this toast, and we will go forth in good cheer. 1,000 welcomes you'll find here before you. And oftener you come, the more we'll adore you. Thank you. Now, oh, that's really good. Here's the bottle. This is my first book, and this was published 20 years ago. I actually started writing it about 25 years ago. And the Honor series has gone on ever since then. And as many of you know, the word honor is in all of my titles, or a derivation of the word honor. And I frequently get the question, why did you pick honor? Well, it was in the mid to late 90s, and I was creating this series. It hadn't come out yet. And I wanted to make it about an American naval officer in this time period when the United States went from being a continental country to a global power. The Navy was in the forefront of that. And I wanted this character to be the strong man of honor. I wanted him to do the right thing for the right reasons at the right time. That is rare, that was rare, and it lands him in a lot of trouble. But somehow, he usually gets out of it. So, the first thing I want to show you is the cover of my first book. This is At the Edge of Honor. Now, in the background here, you will see a chart. This is from my original chart from 1860, and it is of the Florida Keys and Lower Florida, around Cape Sable. And then there is a painting in the middle. This painting was an oil painting done for my publisher, and 2 years ago, my publisher presented me with that oil painting, and I'm going to present it to you now. This is the original oil painting from The Edge of Honor. And the graphics wizards at the publisher, actually the head graphics person is named Shay Heaton, and she did a magnificent job of superimposing this on that chart. And I got a lot of compliments. And if you look at this painting, you will notice it's on a mangrove coast of Florida. And this vessel actually did exist. This is the Rosalie, the smallest gunboat in the United States Navy at the time. Now I want to show you another unusual thing, and this is from my 5th book. Now my 5th book is called An Affair of Honor, and there's an interesting story behind the title. I couldn't come up with the name of my next book. I had written 4, and I decided I would let the readers name the book. So I had a contest. I had an online contest to name the book. I just recently found my notes. I have 17 pages of notes from all of the title suggestions that came in from 11 countries around the world. I was stunned. I had readers in Russia, Russia of all places. So I had 374 title suggestions from 11 countries. I had to narrow them down to 18 semifinalists. And yes, there was rum involved. And then I had to narrow it down to 5 finalists. And finally, the winning title was An Affair of Honor. And it was submitted by a reader in Alexandria, Virginia, who has become a very, very dear friend. His name is Michael Woodgard. And you may recognize that name if you've read my books, because he got to be a character in my books. Now, I want to show you, you can see here the oil painting of an Arab sailing felucca. And then in the background, it's superimposed on a map of North Africa. This book takes place in the Caribbean, in the Mediterranean, and particularly in North Africa. This is the 1875 original. I don't want to shine the light too much on this. Original map of mine. This is rare, of North Africa, and particularly Morocco. This map and this book cover the area where I did an 1,100-kilometer trek from the ocean to the mountains, the Atlas Mountains, and then down into the Western Sahara Desert in Marrakesh. And this is very, very special. That was a great research trek, and I really wanted to share that with you. Now, my next book is my 6th book, and this is also a special one. I was on a German freighter for 10,000 miles to research this book. And let me see, we can get the light a little more over there. We go. And you can see that there is an oil painting of a vessel here, and then a map that it's superimposed on. Now this map is my original map of South America. This is an 1880 map of South America, and it covers the area of my 10,000-mile voyage, which went down through the Caribbean. When I was on that voyage, I was also researching and finishing up the writing for A Dishonorable Few. And it shows the main area of action in this particular book. So this is another one of my collector's maps that really were very, very important to me as I was researching. And on that long voyage on that German freighter, I was using this map to do coastal navigation in 2005, even though it was so old. All right, now we're going to go to one of my favorite books, because I spent many months in Southeast Asia. And this is the honored dead about what happened in French Indochina in 1883. And in my travels in Southeast Asia, in French Indochina, I ended up going up the Mekong River through Vietnam from the coast all the way up into central Cambodia. And I had two charts with me. I had a modern chart of the river, and then I used this 1885 British map of French Indochina. When I went up the Mekong River on a riverboat, we were steaming along at 5 to 6 knots, chug, 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 up this river. It was something out of a movie. And this is Cochin, China. This is Cambodia. And we went all the way up into central Cambodia. And I was using this because it had the place names and the actual river locations from the time period that I was writing this fascinating. And to compare the two, the modern chart and the old map, were really interesting. This also, another copy of this, ended up as the background for the book cover. And there's a Chinese junk on this book cover, and it's superimposed on the bottom of this map down here. Interestingly, after this book came out, I found a sailing junk in the islands where I live, and I was able to take my readers out on sails on that sailing junk. So the final book I want to show you tonight is a book where the cover looked different. And the cover looked different because we used a different kind of graphics. The publisher wanted to do something a little different. And I had a friend who is a graphic artist using computers to do his artistry as opposed to an oil painting. And his name is Charles Johnson. He's very, very good. In fact, he did 5 book covers for my publisher. And this was the first one, Honor Bound. It is about, it takes place in 1888, Florida, the Bahamas, and Haiti. And things changed for Peter Wade in this book. And this cover really, really sparked interest among my readers. And so we went with Charles with the next several books, and the covers really popped out. That computer graphics that we can do that very few people can. So we recently got the original from this book cover, the original artwork, and I wanted to share it with you because I love this. It looks different from the oil paintings. I'll try to get this without the glare. And when we saw this, I saw it on an email on the computer, and everybody at the graphics division at the publisher went crazy. They loved it. My editor loved it, and I loved it. And so that's why the book covers changed a little bit in composition over the years. Now I have a new publisher, and the new publisher has decided to do my last book, Honoring Enemy, in a completely different kind of format. And, you know, the publishers have the right to do that. And I really like the new one. And a lot of my readers have liked it. And the booksellers have gone crazy. They really like it because it stands out on the bookshelves, which is the whole point, you know, to sell books. And we even got an animated cover of that book that we could put on the computer, some of it. So now I'm done with my presentation, and I want to, we're going to unmute people, And I'm going to handle some brief questions on this topic of our book titles and our cover art. And in order to try to do this in some sort of orderly fashion, if you raise your glass or you raise your hand, then I can see you and I can call on you. All right?
Bob, this is Carl.
Hi, Carl.
I was wondering when you did your first book, did you envision a series, and did you envision titling using honor throughout, or did that just evolve?
Very good question. I wanted to use the word honor in all of the titles right from the beginning. Before the first book was published, all the titles were going to have honor. And before I even got the publisher, I was adamant about that. And the publisher understood. By the way, the CEO of my first publisher was a former naval officer. He was a naval reserve officer at his time on the coast of Vietnam in LST. So he understood the concept of honor. He understood the concept of service, duty, honor, and country. And so honor was going to be in all of them. But how many titles can you use honor? Well, it turns out we've come up with 15 so far, and we have several for the future. So I came up with the concept of this. Now, originally, we were going to do 5 to 7 books. Then the first several books won several literary awards. That makes you feel good. And then I had the conversation with my editor that every author wants to have. And we said, well, why are we only going to do 5 to 7? We decided to do maybe about 9 or 10. And then I won the National Award from the American Library Association for my genre, the Boyd Award. And the book sales spread and started getting even better. And so I had another conversation with my editor that I have, and that is, well, maybe we need to extend this. So we decided to extend it to about 16 or 17. And that's where we're at now. I don't know how many books there's going to be. Right now, the next book that's coming out is set in 1901. And Peter Waite is now going to be 60. He's going to be 62 years old, and he's going to be able to go past the mandatory retirement, which is 62. We'll find out how in the next book. Really fun. Comes out in October. And I have a feeling he's going to have quite a lot to do from 1901 on. Surprising. Next question.
Robert, this is Captain Don.
Hey, Don, how are you doing? I didn't see you.
Well, I'm part of the Calusa Dive Club. We enjoy you coming by all the time. In choosing your covers, any thought in how it would look on a bookshelf, either in a library or a bookstore, either on the binding or the cover, someone would catch the idea to make the purchase?
Don, you are exactly correct. The marketing people at publishers think about that very thing. For instance, let me turn this book, Spine, on. And this is the spine. So this is what most people see in a bookstore. And you'll notice the title really stands out. And by the way, there is a very small graphic of that artwork by Charles Johnson on the spine. And they want the book to stand out from all the other books here. The display face out, that takes more space on a bookshelf in a bookstore. And that's actually rare. And sometimes the publishers have to pay extra money. But in many bookstores that handle my books, when I've already been there and they're on my routine book tours, then they already put my book face out. So you're absolutely right, John. Next question.
Hey, Robert, this is Tony Cothran. I have a question for you.
Hi, Tony.
As you probably are aware, honor is one of the three core values of the United States Navy. So I wonder if you have a perspective or a comment about honor as practiced by Peter Wake and honor as it is received or characterized or practiced in today's society in the U.S. Navy.
Of course, you were a serving naval officer. You did great work. Tony, you know exactly what the concept of honor is. I see that when for the last 15 years, I just ended, but for the last 15 years, I've been a consultant for the Department of Defense, and I've worked with the Navy and the Army, particularly all over the world. And I see honor every day I'm with, every single day, from all ranks, from private or seaman on up. They exhibit it every day in everything they do. In the little things, attention to detail, and the concept of honor on the big things starts with the little things. So I think honor is very much alive. Any other questions?
I don't, Robert, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, Dick Horton. It's the very first time I've used Zoom. So,
Well, we're all learning this together.
right. Any chance that we might see any of these books on film?
Well, that's a great question. And I have had, over the years, I've had 5 different film companies, 3 American, 1 Scandinavian, and 1 British, that looked into making films of my books. The most recent one was the British one, and it was actually looking pretty good. And that was going to be a film about Wake inside Cuba, this intelligence book, this espionage work in Cuba. And I actually had things starting to get lined up inside Cuba for that movie. But film work, as I have learned, is really hard to count on. So we'll see. You know, we'll believe it when we see it. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody. And I think that what we're going to do now is invite everybody to come to the next one. And the next one is going to be on chapter titles and characters. I have some unusual characters. You'd be surprised at how many of them are from actual real life. And also there are some other ones that have come in as literary characters, as fictional. And then the time after that, the Tuesday after that, which is the 16th, we're going to do how I do my research, and I'm going to bring in some artifacts. Some of these artifacts are actually weapons that I've got from around the world that have found their way into my books. So you'll get to see some extremely unusual artifacts and also hear about my research. And there's the cover reveal of my next novel. And we're going to show you, you are the first people in the public who will get to see the cover of my next novel that's coming out in just a couple months from now in October. And that is the Word of Honor. So I'm really looking forward to these Tuesday nights with you. And we're trying to keep it short and sweet. And I want to wish you all the very best evening. And let us hope the hurricane's coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Bob. Bye.
All your work.
Now I just have to figure out how to sign off this.
Left top.
Thank you, Tony.
Bottom right corner says leave.
These are always entertaining.
Yeah. Thank you all.